Hi, I'm Leslie Lowe. Welcome to Leslie's Lowdown on Life.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Leslie's Lowdown on Life. I'm kind of excited today because my two guests are usually the ones behind the camera, and they're working everything to make this podcast come to life. But today, they're in front of the camera or behind the mic, so to speak. And we're talking all things Gen Z.
That's right. Thanks
Gen
for having
Z.
us,
So we
Leslie.
have Quinn, we have Olivia. We're talking about social, because we had this conversation. We've had several conversations about social media and dating apps and life the way it is now compared to, say a few years back in my day.
Yeah, well, we obviously getting to be behind the camera, working this with you has been super fun for us. With that, we've got to kind of see the YouTube side of things. I've learned a lot more about social media and all of that stuff through working with you on this project. So it's just been a lot of fun getting to talk to you about all of our, obviously we're in that Gen Z. I saw recently a term called Zillennial, which is what I think
that's
I
a new
am.
one. It's Zillennial?
They claim, at least according to the Google search I did, is that year in between Gen Z and millennials, which is right where I fall in 1997. So I think I have that slight perspective of both millennials and Gen Z.
You definitely do.
Yeah.
But we have the best conversations because we're they're so opposite. It's fascinating. I think it's fascinating on both ends. And I got to say, I appreciate you two so much more than words could actually say, because you're incredible behind the camera, but you're just incredible at what you do. And you're incredible people. So I'm excited about this. Let's talk. Let's
I know
talk.
you're buttering us up. We love working for you.
Stop it.
But
we love you. Yeah.
Love you back.
I think honestly, first place to start is Olivia and I were pretty much raised most of our lives with social media involved or some sort of technology, whether it be video games and that type of stuff from an early age. And we kind of just want to know for our Gen Zers, what the heck was life like before you could get on there and see what all your friends were doing, and like how much has changed since social media has emerged, and you saw life before social media and you saw life after social media.
It was amazing. I'll tell you that. It was a lot more peaceful. I mean, because I'll laugh and I'll bring up the days of like the payphone. Like if you wanted to talk to somebody, you had to stop on the side of the road where you saw a payphone. Really taking myself way back there, aren't I?
That's crazy.
But it's just kind of a cool thing, right? And so I remember, when AOL started. God, I really am sounding so old right now. But, the whole dial-up and internet and then having access to that. But I remember I was in the business, pretty newly in the business when social media started. And that was a crazy transition, right? Because it was like all of a sudden you were connected to all these people that came out of the woodwork, people you went to school with and people you went to college with and people you'd work with in other jobs. And it was kind of cool at first because you had those great connections and you could see what people were doing. Families could see each other's pictures and it was just a great thing. And then all of a sudden, like everything does, the bag kind of crept in, and all the I call them creepers, for lack of better ways of putting it, the people who just sit behind a keyboard and just kind of like write the mean stuff. They don't think about it. And
the haters.
The
as we call them.
haters, haters gonna hate, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But they do find their way of creeping in. So I'm curious too, from my end of it, because you guys have grown up with this, what it's been like. For me, it was so fantastic at first, right? It really was. It was great connecting and
because
seeing
that's all
people.
we want to is connection.
That's what we thrive off of,
Right.
right?
And that's all that obviously you guys knew at first. And so to have that amplified through a platform like that, it's like, this is really cool because we can all see what everyone's doing. But then it's like, what you said, there's always going to be some sort of like, I guess like dark side.
Negative side to it.
Something bad. Something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I really saw that change because I was probably 10 to 12 years old, like when Instagram became a thing and all of that. And I remember loving social media, and like when my parents let me get on Facebook and get an Instagram account and all that stuff. It was so much fun. Like the pictures that you posted were just stupid, like And granted, I was 12, but even still, it was kind of the general thing for people. Like, I'm just
Right.
going to post, here's my sandwich that I ate for lunch, or like
Yeah.
whatever stupid stuff you did. And then you saw over time, like as with anything where there's money to be made and in these types of platforms, businesses get in there, algorithms change, they develop it and all that. And now it's much different. Like you go on and you post your most curated things, not just your crappy little photo of some random thing that you're doing that day.
Yeah, now it's
And
got to be picture perfect.
Yeah,
Isn't that
picture
crazy?
perfect. And you feel kind of that, like, if you post stuff that doesn't feel like it's picture perfect and kind of worthy of being posted, it's like you can kind of feel that hate, or this post does, I got 20 likes on this one. And if I post something that's more serene and picturesque, I get 100 likes or something like that.
That's
And there's
so
a lot of those things that
interesting.
creep in.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that, you guys.
It's a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing. Because you're right. At first, we all just posted what we had for dinner, or pictures of our dog or our kids, in my case, or
Yeah.
things like that. But over time, we've introduced things like Face App and Lightroom, and I'm just trying to
Filters. and-
all the filters.
Yeah.
Mhm. If it's not, if it's not a high quality post, people are less likely to. They're just less likely to like it or say anything, or like if it is a, because I remember people used to just like what you said, we'd post our drinks or like our sandwiches or like our dog, and it's like a
Mhm.
blurry photo of the dog
Yeah.
no one cared at first, and then you get to this point where people it's almost like a production. It's like you have to really think about what you're putting out there,
Yeah.
because people
Judge.
they judge.
Yeah.
They judge.
They're like, oh, what did you take that with like an Android? It's like that's the things that people would say nowadays, is like, that looks really bad. Like,
Yeah.
So it's weird.
It's weird. So I
Yeah.
know for my generation, and when all of this started out, the Facebook and then the Instagram and now TikTok, and I'm sure there's many more I'm missing here.
Yeah.
But it was like that adrenaline rush when you got like the like buttons or
Mhm.
people commented, and it was sort of that, and it kind of fed into our
Like a
being-
validation.
yeah, validation and
Yeah.
being connected to like our viewers. In my case, what's it been like though for you guys, like going through school, like you said, posting the pictures? Did you base like some of your value on the number of likes or comments, or how did that work for you guys?
Yeah. I know I can go in if you want, but where I think thankfully with some age for me, I'm now 28, so I'm not super old, but I'm 10 years out of high school and things like that. I know for high school, it was way worse. Like it was, you put so much stock into that stuff, even before social media was kind of the beast that it is now. I played high school basketball, and so it was like a big deal for me to get like that cool action shot to be
Yeah.
able to post to all my friends and people back home, or the girls at the high school or whatever. It's like, so they knew that, oh, I'm a Mr. Popular, do whatever like you want to show.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of, because then you get like, well, this post didn't do as well, or like this person didn't like this one, but they liked that one. And there's so many random little mental games like that you find yourself even subconsciously, I think, thinking about, because I don't think a lot of us are actively thinking about that stuff as we're posting and making and taking photos and things like that. But I think it's just something that has kind of crept into a lot of our subconscious in this generation, where that's just in the back of your head. Like, oh, I'm not going to post this, even though I love this photo, but it's not quite as nice as this other one that's going to look a little bit more glamorous and a little bit more.
Worried about the judgment or
yes,
the
yeah.
feedback on it. Did you feel the same way? Because how old are you now? Do you mind if I ask?
Now I'm 22.
Okay.
I all throughout high school, it was like, you wanted first of all, people they almost established like on some of their pages like an aesthetic, so like they have
Yes.
like a theme that
Yeah.
they follow, and so everything like it's
Mhm.
very like curated down to like the filter, the way that it looks, the quality. And so in high school it was kind of a big thing, but even especially now, like I find myself like, I don't know, I see other people's posts and I'm like, wow, that was really well edited or really well done. And man, I wish that I was as good at, I guess, like putting a post together as someone else was. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's weird though to think about it that way, because we use social media to share moments.
Like that's your life.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're editing
Right.
your life, right?
Yeah.
For what people are seeing. You're editing who you are and what your life is.
Yeah.
Oh Oh my gosh, that's such an interesting concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
If I've got like
it
a
is.
if I've got like a pimple or something, I like go in. It's crazy how you can go in now and like erase it or like
Mhm.
but we do it because we feel the pressure to
Yeah.
make it
perfect.
picture perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's yeah, it's not and again, I think it's something that I find to be in the subconscious of us because I don't actively go around thinking these things often, but exactly that, like touching up photos, like adding filters, all this stuff, it's just part of like what we do now, and I don't think we necessarily realize some of maybe the mental repercussions that has on our self-image, self-worth,
Yeah.
how we view others,
Yeah.
how we view places, events, things like that.
Well, then you get comments from people, and sometimes like or likes, or you don't get a like from like people specific to. It's like, well, that person didn't like my post, and that was the whole point of this post. Like it's a thing, and comments are always nice because I haven't really ever had. Also, we should talk about that here too. Is like what you go through online because you're somebody who is in the spotlight.
Mhm.
I've never had like a negative comment, but I know that it feels really good when people, hype you up in your Instagram posts and stuff. So
Yeah.
when you're not getting that attention, it's like, oh, this post didn't do as well. It does kind of like, you're like, oh, maybe this wasn't such a, and then you want to take it down, and then and it's like, why? There's so much energy that we waste
So
on
much.
that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
call it a mind game.
Fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my go-to, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
But it really messes with your head.
It does.
Yeah.
It messes with your head because you're like, okay, I don't look good enough in this picture, so I've got to alter it, to live up to this because I don't know about you. I'm sure it's the same for all of us, right? We're comparing. We're constantly comparing ourselves to what somebody else is. Well, you just said it, how they've edited it or what the picture looks like or what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's like, it seems as though it's social media, maybe it's a little different. And you guys tell me that everybody's putting the best of the best out there.
Yeah.
Or sometimes the worst of the worst. You're like, we didn't need to know all that.
Yeah.
It seems to be either you're super curated going for that like that aesthetic that
Yeah.
your Instagram page has or whatever that is, or you tend to be the oversharer that just everything that I do is going to be on social media, which I think is another case that we have, which I don't think either one of us really fall into, but I see that a lot where I have some friends of mine and I remember like graduating from college and we're all looking for jobs and just random friends would like post stuff on stories of them
Yeah.
in not good states and out
Yeah.
doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. And it was kind of, even for me, like kind of eye opening, like, man, like we don't need to put everything on social media. Like that's probably some stuff can just stay private to yourself. You don't need to have that recorded while you're doing your keg stand or something,
Yeah.
whatever it is, the
Whatever
stupid
it
thing
is,
that you're doing.
Don't overshare.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
and that's-
overshare.
Especially when you're trying to get like a job
Yeah.
eventually
Right.
and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like you have to take your digital footprint is so important in my opinion. Like I've got some silly stuff out there, but it's never gonna be me like out drinking a ton or like getting like all like it's just not. I don't know. I don't think that's not a picture I want to paint. And also, it's like people can find anything about you nowadays.
Yeah.
Why would you put that out
Yeah.
there?
And I do want to talk about that for a half a second.
Yeah.
Sorry, did
No.
I interrupt you?
Nope.
So digital footprint,
Mhm.
that wasn't a thing for me. I mean, it is now, obviously.
Mhm.
But that for me growing up in those formative years when
Right.
we're in high school and we're doing all the stupid stuff for college and we're doing all the fun, stupid things
Right.
as we should be. And, you post those things on and then that becomes part of your digital footprint.
Yeah.
Which is, that's got to be really difficult. Like, I can't tell you how many times I'll be sitting with friends and we'll go, we're glad Facebook wasn't going then.
That's what I was going to ask. I
Yeah.
was going to say, was it nice to not have to have everything taken a picture of and not have
Yes.
everything recorded?
You know what's fun is that if I'll get together with friends or see friends is pulling out like the scrapbooks or the photo albums or,
Right.
they'll send pictures that they've taken of the picture. And that was fun.
Right.
And so we didn't have everything that lived online.
Right.
And I have to imagine that going through school and growing up with everything online, like everything's out
Yeah.
there. How is that?
It's something that, at least for me, I never paid much attention to
Yeah.
until recent years when these terms like digital footprint and stuff
Yeah.
kind of started becoming more mainstream, and we started to understand what being on the internet does, where there's always a trail of everything you've ever Google searched or posted and all this stuff. Even if you've
Yeah.
deleted it, any messages you sent, there is a trail of that,
Right.
and there is a
Yeah.
copy of that somewhere that someone can find.
Yeah.
Somebody's got it somewhere.
Yeah.
Even if it's the app itself, like I know Snapchat has been under some fire for like keeping everything, even when it's like
Mm.
gone, like wiped. I think
Yeah.
they still have everything.
Yeah, I think so. That's what
Which
I've
is
heard too.
weird.
Is you send a Snapchat that's supposed to vanish within 10 seconds or whatever their thing is, but we've learned and been told that that lives somewhere. That picture goes
Yep.
somewhere that is forever in
So you
some
guys
sort of
have
database.
learned that, like security. I didn't want to believe that security was an issue.
Mhm.
Because I wanted to believe that Snapchat whatever was going to disappear. I only did Snapchat with my youngest son, so
Yeah.
but we did silly videos back and forth, and you're thinking, okay, that video is gone, and you
Right.
can't get that back. But you're right, stuff lives somewhere,
Yeah.
and there's a bit of a security issue if you're putting out where you're at or dropping a pin as to where you're at or
Absolutely.
putting your information, even just giving your phone number to, and I'll just use Facebook as an example,
Yeah.
you're giving your information, they're taking that information and they're using it for something. Does that make you guys nervous? Because
Yeah.
it didn't me
Right.
at first. Now it does. Now
Yes.
I'm like so hyper aware
Yeah.
of that.
It is scary, especially like in being like a young woman that lives alone.
Yeah.
Snapchat, I saw recently that Instagram might be doing something with our location or might like be sharing our location,
Mhm.
kind of like Snapchat does.
Yeah.
It's
Wouldn't surprise me.
and I'm like, I don't want that out there. I don't
No.
even want my Snapchat location on. I can't remember if it's even on or not, but like they kind of Snapchat went ahead and just was like, okay, you're on a map now and people can see where you are, unless you turn it off, of course. But it's like,
Right.
that's weird.
You
to
shouldn't
me.
have to go in and turn it off. If you want it on, you should be able to go, I suppose, and turn it on, but you
Yeah.
shouldn't have to
Yeah.
go, oh, I have to turn this off, because a lot of people might not know that.
Yeah.
So that's also
It's
another
weird.
interesting conversation though.
Yeah, and
Male, female.
it's such an interesting thing too with
Yeah.
that, how that's kind of changed, because like you said, in the early days of social media, when people weren't using it quite as much and we weren't as sophisticated with it, I remember being in high school and getting a cell phone my junior year of high school for the first time, and I remember going in my Instagram bio and putting my cell phone number
Yeah.
in there and saying like, text me, like whatever I put in there. And now I look at that and saying like, oh my God, like what a way for somebody to find your
Yeah.
information and just get access
Yeah.
to you
Mhm.
so easily. But at the time, in the early days, you didn't worry about some of these things and the kind of creeps and
Yeah.
some stuff that can be out there nowadays. And now I feel like I am very protective about what I post, and I try not to post too much. I try not to post a ton. Like I've seen friends of mine that have little kids and little babies,
Yeah.
and they will not post that baby on social media because they don't want anyone getting a visual of it, have any idea
Which is
what their
smart.
day to day is. Yeah. And things like that you now have to be aware of, because there's just unfortunately people out there that are doing
Being creepy.
creepy, terrible
Strange,
things. Yeah.
It's an interesting world. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I didn't say your last names. There's a reason for that.
Thanks.
Right? Because I'm super now protective
Yeah.
of things that, whereas before I wasn't. I feel like just some behind the scenes for me, I felt like my life was so out there for everybody to see, all the good, the bad, and the ugly. And yes, I had put a lot of that out there. And now I just won't. Like I won't post a picture of somebody without having like their permission,
Right.
or my kids and their last names, or grandkids and their last names. And because there are so many creepy people that are being on a vacation, you don't want to post that at the time that you're on, because then you're telling people you're not in town.
Right.
And there are people, there's bad people out there.
Yes.
And I hate even believing that. There's just so many bad people out there. You guys know that, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
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 Ask me some
that's-
questions. What do you want to ask me?
Yeah. Well, I know one that's just been on top of my mind since we mentioned it. Olivia and I are not in the public eye, like you mentioned earlier. We work
Yeah.
behind the camera here, so we are doing your filming and doing the editing and all that stuff. So we don't have to deal with, I can go out to eat, or I can go to Riverfront Park and nobody knows who I am unless I've actually met the person.
Yeah, unless it's like a mutual or a friend. It's like no one's gonna stop us everywhere we're going. It almost seems like you're living that reality of you are like a local celebrity.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't imagine dealing with that on social media, and especially like going out in public. It's like that's got to be a lot.
Yeah, and so I wonder, like, from your perspective, particularly given that because you've been in TV for a long time, and so kind of before the big social media wave, what has that change been like for you with the accessibility that people feel to you and the hateful comments that you get and things like that?
That's a heavy sigh, right?
I know.
I
sorry.
mean, no. It's a really great conversation to have. It really is, because I will say 95% of people are just amazing. They really are. There are some incredible people, and I'm so grateful every single day for the online community that I've had support from, and the community itself had support from. It is a very weird thing, and I would say that my personality's probably changed a lot over the years because of that. I should explain that. There is like introvert, extrovert, right? I think I was more extroverted, say, when I was younger, and then you become more introverted and you become more protective of yourself. And like I said, I had put a lot of stuff out there that people could see, whether it be relationships or children or whatever. So in one way that helps people to know you better, and another way it gives them too much information about you. And so I'm very private now. The weird thing, to answer your question, is that when I go out in public, this is hard, actually. I have panic attacks. Like I have anxiety. I have the worst anxiety.
Yeah.
And it's just progressively gotten worse. And I think it's because there are several different reasons, but I don't want to disappoint people, first of all. I don't want to let anybody down. I don't want anybody to feel like I dismissed them or didn't see them, or I didn't appropriately address them, or address their comment or question or whatever it is in my daily life. Like maybe I'm out running an errand to a grocery store, for an example. I'll give you a couple that'll help kind of like maybe pull it together. I had gone out one day to Fred Meyer, and I was just looking for a particular birthday cake for my granddaughter when she was little. And this was just after COVID. And so, and I'll go back to COVID here in a minute, but I had just run in the store. I was in a hurry. I was just trying to do things very quickly. And I'd run in the store, and I had, went straight to the bakery. I asked it for a particular thing. They didn't have it. I feel like I'm always really nice to people because, well, I just like people, so I'm not going to be rude. And then I just left. You know, it was an in, straight back, and out because they didn't have what I wanted. Well, evidently, somebody had called this station and said she dismissed me. She told me she didn't care about my question.
Wow.
And I was like, I didn't talk to anybody except for the lady behind the counter at the bakery. I was so confused by what that was about, and it hurt me. I was like, oh my God, I didn't hear anybody ask me a question. I would never tell them I don't care about what they have to say, usually. And one of the reasons I kind of stopped going to the stores was you run in for something, and we all have limited time, right? And then I would always know that I would have to build in maybe 30 or 40 extra minutes, because you want to talk to people. You want, if somebody stops to talk to you, you want to acknowledge them and thank them for, like, first of all, knowing who you are, second of all, for watching and wanting to say hi. But that can become overwhelming. So I thought I would never dismiss somebody, especially if they had a valid question. So that like bothered me so much.
Yeah.
And then I'll walk backwards to COVID and mask, no mask, mask, no mask. And then going to the grocery store and, everybody was scared. Yeah. Right. Everybody and had an opinion. Yeah. Rightfully so. Great.
And we were very divided during that. So it was whether you had the mask on or had it off, somebody had something to say about it at that time.
Somebody had something to say. And so that became overwhelming to be stopped. And why do you think this way? Why do you think that way? Or, you guys are, doing it wrong, and the media sucks, and all of that. And so I found myself driving to the stores and then, not going in.
Yeah.
So I stopped going and
Aw.
started ordering online. And then
Yeah.
I think one of the creepiest things for me, hardest things for me, was I had gone to the mall after being out at the lake one day, and I had an event to go to that night. So I just went into Victoria's Secrets because I needed to get something to go with this dress. And so I was just in there. It was quick. I was wearing a sundress, and all of a sudden I felt somebody's hand go all the way down my back to my back end. And I was like, I turned around. I didn't know who this person was. It was
Wow.
a guy. And I was like startled. And he's like, we're friends. We're friends on Facebook. And I didn't know who this person was. And he's got his hand on my backside. And I'm like, I was so freaked out by that.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, I like that people feel like we're friends. I want them to. But there's also a boundary.
There's boundaries. Yeah.
That's like insane.
And I felt like I couldn't get mad at him because then I would somehow get in trouble or be looked on badly for being upset about it. But
And
I wouldn't go to the mall for like a year after that.
Yeah. And I feel like that, I'm sure, is a thing when you are any sort of celebrity of any kind, whether that be a local celebrity to a big national celebrity. I feel like because of social media is that those boundaries do get blurred sometimes, and where it's, oh,
Yeah.
we're Facebook friends, or I follow you on Instagram, so I
Yeah.
get to see everything that you're doing. So I know so much about you, even though you don't know who I am or any
Yeah. It's
idea,
like a
but I feel this.
parasocial
Yeah.
relationship.
Right. Yeah.
they
That
form.
parasocial.
It's an interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Don't you guys feel like that's just such an interesting dynamic?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
honestly, I couldn't imagine somebody just coming up to me and like touching me. I wouldn't allow it. Like I'm props to you for being like so nice, because I just couldn't allow it. I'd be like, yeah, you can step away now.
I don't know.
Well, and then
if
that
I'd be as
puts you
nice.
in a hard
Yeah, good.
situation
Yeah.
too, because then you are, I'm sure, despite this could be the nicest guy in the world, which maybe it doesn't sound like it was, but nonetheless, it could. If it was, you don't want to come off as like, oh, get away from me and all this stuff,
Right.
because you have an image and a
Right.
reputation to uphold.
Right.
But at the same time, when they start crossing those boundaries, it puts you in that uncomfortable situation of how do I react to this without being off-putting and causing a scene, essentially, because I am in the public eye and people are looking at me. But also, how do I go to the mall without essentially getting
That's
felt up by some random dude?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
been the blurry line. That's been the hard thing for me, is I was never good with boundaries anyway. And then when all of this started to kind of like domino into effect, and it kind of did over time, like you guys saw how, then all of a sudden creepy people go in, and then you have to start worrying about security and all of that. Yeah, you're always hyper aware of like what you're being seen as.
Yeah.
And that was hard for me because I am a nice person and I do want to be good to people, but I'm like, whoa, there are some boundaries. One of the other ones was I was driving down the road and and the car's right next to you. And you're like, oh, maybe I'll speed up a little bit, because it gets weird when somebody's like right next to you. I don't know why that is, but it is. And I looked over and it was a guy who was just videotaping me and waving. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I like waved.
Oh,
Wow.
And then I
God.
tinted my windows.
Oh, good,
Smart.
good.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Yeah.
move.
So those are some of the things,
Yeah, and that's the
creepy
side
things,
that
yeah.
we grow up with it, obviously, but that's the side that I don't think even our generation fully understands, and I think our generation might even violate some of that stuff with famous celebrities that we love and things like
sure.
that, because you go to a concert or you buy like a VIP ticket to meet
Right.
these people, and I think a lot of the times with people our age, that boundary does get blurred too, where it's like, oh, this is my friend, and how they treat me in this situation, it means so much to me, even though I've never actually met this person. I'm not actually friends with this person, but I feel like I'm so close with them.
That's so
And
interesting.
yeah, I think it gives us a false sense of reality at times with relationships and people in different settings.
Well, that is God, what's the word? Dichotomy? Like that. I mean, just that weird kind of connection that we all feel. Like I'll look at things too, and I'll feel like, oh, I know that person.
Right.
You do feel like you know people.
Yeah.
And but it's a different way.
Right.
It's a different way. And then that also brings me to like when people you don't know or they don't really know you then are commenting on you and saying things about you. You're like, wait a minute, why are you saying such ugly things? And
Right.
I don't know. Do you guys encounter any of that? Or is it pretty
For
just
the-
your friends that you've got, and so you feel pretty safe with them?
I mean, I would say I definitely don't encounter like I just again I reiterate this. I couldn't imagine like being in the spotlight and receiving like hate comments like that because yeah, I mean, it's a rarity though for I hate to say it like this, but ordinary people like us to
Right.
like get people who are like, you know, just I don't know. I manage your social media.
You do.
Hi.
Here's the
By the
manager
way,
of the social media. She does a great
She's
job.
not the only one that sees those things. And obviously, I'm not like going through your message, but there's things that pop up because I get your notifications,
Yeah.
and I'm like, gosh, that was nasty.
Mhm.
I could not imagine it. So, I mean, from an ordinary standpoint, like, no, I don't really experience that. I mean, I've experienced like weirdos sometimes like sliding into my they say call it like slide in your DMs and weirdos that it's like uninvited stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not I'm not in the spotlight like you are. So it's easier for me at least to just ignore that stuff.
Yeah, and I think for me, like early stages when social media was still kind of new, like I don't even know if you remember, there was a social media app called like Yik Yak and stuff where you could just post anonymously about people in your town or in your school or your area, and that would get super nasty. So I dealt with some of the kind of
That's
like the social
crazy.
media bully, not necessarily to me directly, but I saw it within my
Yeah.
schools and stuff like that. And then I think over time, as we became a little bit more literate with social media, teachers and parents started monitoring some of that stuff. So I feel like we don't see it necessarily as much like hate directly to us again as kind of the quote unquote ordinary people. But I see it so much. Like I'm a big sports fan, and like right now is the WNBA season, and I love women's basketball. So I watch a lot of that. And then but what I see on social media 50% of the time is just these nasty, hateful comments in that demographic, unfortunately, mostly
Yeah.
from men saying objectifying, nasty things that they just feel that everyone can see, but they feel like it's okay for them to say and just put out there. And so I feel like you see that, and it kind of makes me be like, it's exactly what you said, those kind of keyboard warriors behind
Yeah.
the screen, like
Yeah.
these successful athletes or these successful musicians, whoever people are hating on. It's like when you're in the cheap seats or you're not the man in the
Yes.
arena, it's so easy to
You
pick
do
on
listen.
and hate. And we do. We sure do.
It's insane. It's like why, and also it's a public comment too. It's not like other especially with a celebrity and like or like an athlete, a famous athlete. The public is more likely to see that comment than like the athlete themselves
Yes.
or like
100%.
you know, like if you're just scrolling through it's like that's public. It's like I can't imagine writing a nasty comment like that on anybody's profile, no matter who they are, no matter even if I really don't like them. It's like I
Right.
can't imagine doing that because you know it's
Well, like we
everyone
said,
can see that.
yeah, early on, everyone can see it. Jobs, parents,
Yes.
future
Mutual
girlfriend, boyfriend,
Right.
spouse, all of that.
Right.
It's all out there. And then like we said earlier too, it doesn't go away. So there's always a record of that. And so it really is. It's like early on, like you're told like don't believe everything you see on the internet, which is
Yeah.
very, very true. And then there
Yeah.
was kind of like that, like you have to conduct yourself as if
Yeah.
you were just in person when
Yeah.
you're doing these things. And I feel like we've lost that a little bit
Oh,
where we
yes.
feel so empowered to be those keyboard warriors and I'm going to text you this big game or I'm going to comment this nasty thing. But if I ever saw you in person, I'd be too scared to ever actually do any of this myself. But I have that freedom to do it behind a keyboard.
Which
And I feel like we fall too easily into
It's
that.
crazy. And I
It
think we
is.
really have fallen into that. And I'm like, oh, there's if that's what's coming out of you
Yeah.
and you're putting out there for the public to see what's inside of you.
Right.
And
Right.
my general rule of thumb with social media is, okay, would you say that to their face? And if you
Mhm.
wouldn't say that to their face, what are you doing?
Right.
What are you doing
Yeah.
here? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, and when you see stuff like that, like the nasty comments, I feel like especially a person like you, because you're so kind and like such a great like person to work with. It's like it's hard to
Thanks.
see any weird, nasty hate comments, and I know that probably gets to you sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like you
More than I'd like
Well,
to
we all
admit,
wanna
but
be
it's true.
liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
appreciate, and you work really hard and you're good at what you do. It's like,
Thanks.
but keeping in mind that like somebody like that who kind of like you said, they have something wrong with them. Obviously, there's something underneath that's not.
There's an
They're going
underlying.
through something maybe.
Yeah.
Or they're just maybe even just a horrible like just there's evil people out there. It's like it would almost be a disservice to your character for them to like you anyways. So it's like I try to think
Oh, that's a nice way to put. I
Yeah.
try to
actually
think
like
about
that.
it like
Yeah.
that. It would almost be a disservice to your character if somebody nasty like that did like you, because it's like I don't know.
That's a
how
great perspective.
That's how
It
I
really
try to
is.
think about that, because you are wonderful. It's
Oh.
like I don't. It's a rarity to see like super hateful stuff on your, at least the social pages
Yeah.
that I'm managing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people really like you, even too much. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could put. We probably couldn't put this in here, but I remember sending Quinn a screenshot of a couple Facebook comments that were just gross.
Yeah.
Or like some guy being like,
Nasty.
I'm married and I have a wife and kids, but I just want to sit down with you sometime and go to lunch. It's like, what?
Yeah. It's
At least you're honest, but that's weird.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
Or
Don't
even the
do that.
hateful stuff
Yeah.
I've seen. I'm like, ugh, but I
yeah.
get out of that. But
I'm always like, when I see it now, it's different than when I saw it, say, even 2 years ago.
Right.
I'll say that I've grown a lot in 2 years and I've had to get thicker skin, so to speak.
yeah.
Because I am overly sensitive. And so, yes, it does get to me. Yes, it does hurt. No, I don't like it at all. But I think that I've gotten older and my skin's gotten a little thicker. And I think, okay, these people don't know me. They won't know me,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't let them close to me anyway.
Right, exactly.
So boundaries, and then learning the art of block.
Yes.
Block people.
It's a magic thing.
Because if you don't like me, I didn't ask you to be here,
Yeah.
right? Like if people come to
Exactly.
my professional page, then they've chosen to be there. And I'm like, well, you don't have to be here. It's okay if you don't like me.
Right.
Maybe I remind you of somebody that you didn't like before. Not everybody's going to like you. I think
Sure.
I've come to that. And of course, it's always easy.
I've had to also, even not in the spotlight.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It is. You just
You wanna
have
be
to-
liked.
You do want to be
Yeah.
liked. That's human nature,
Yeah,
though.
I think so.
Right?
Mhm.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I heard it said once on that exact note is like, if you wouldn't take advice from somebody, but they comment on you shouldn't pay attention to what they comment on your
Yes.
social media. Because if that's not somebody in your life that you value that opinion, that you would seek out to ask advice on whatever you're dealing
Right.
with, then their opinion shouldn't influence you and matter to you. But that's a lot easier said than done than actually having to
Right.
see the comment and take it and then deal with it.
That's one.
After the
I mean,
fact.
that's a great point. And that's a piece of advice I would give to kids these days. If you're not going to, if this person doesn't mean anything to you, and you wouldn't take their advice in the first place, don't look at that. And I'm specifically like angling towards online bullying. And I get so angry. Like, it's one thing to online bully me. Like, I'm an adult. I don't like it. It hurts. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's going to bother me for probably more days than I care to admit to. But a kid, like a kid who's bullying another kid, or a parent who is bullying another person's child,
Yeah.
that makes me so angry. I'm like, what are you doing? And
Yeah.
what are we teaching
Yep.
our kids?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's when it comes back to, again, like, not all of your feelings and opinions need to be on social
No.
media, in my opinion. And even if there's some kid that really rubbed you the wrong way, or he said something about your kid
Yeah.
or something like that, things used to be handled like you should go talk to their parents or go
Yes.
talk to that kid or confront it. I feel like now you don't have to do the hard things
No.
when it comes to confrontation and even relationships and stuff.
I think that, again, talking about people and their hateful comments, and you wonder, okay, what's going on with them that they would say that. There's just so, like, obviously they don't feel good about themselves. So they're projecting, like you
Right.
just said, they're projecting something
Yeah.
out there. And I just don't want, like I said a second ago, it's hard for me, and I'm a grown up, I'm an adult. So as a kid, I'm like, I want kids to know, don't listen to that stuff. You wouldn't listen to them in person.
Right.
That's not the person you value,
Right.
their opinion.
That comes with age too.
Yeah,
like
that's
you
true.
get to a point in your life where you're like, you know what? Like you almost stop caring about what people think. It's like I know who I am, and that's BS. And like whether it's in you know, you're in the spotlight or if it's just your personal life, it's like, I know who I am.
And
And
that's
I-
what's important.
And that's what's
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
I remember vividly, actually, when I was in college. I remember going through high school, and I played very low level college basketball when I played. But in high school, I was deciding on where I was going to go to college. And it was a big deal to me to have it be like some big name school that everybody at school could be so impressed by.
Gosh, I remember
And I
this.
remember years later, I'm in college and I'm playing at not a big name school that everybody knew of. But I remember telling my dad on some road trip or something and saying, man, I wish I gave more consideration to what was important for me
Yeah.
and what I was looking in for a college, as opposed to what was going to be the most make me look the best or make me impressive to the people that
Yeah.
I went to high school with. Because I haven't, other than my really close friends, I haven't talked to anybody. I don't care about any of the people that what's going on there. Not
Yeah.
that, and that sounds a little rude, but you know what I mean. Where it's,
But it's kind of
it
true.
is, yeah,
I
and they
mean,
don't care about what I'm doing,
right.
vice versa, as
They're
they should.
busy.
And so
They
it's-
have their own lives.
yeah, and so you immediately you get out of some of those early ages and those formidable
Yeah.
ages in particular, and you realize nobody gave a crap anyway.
Yeah.
So why was I letting that influence and dictate how I viewed myself and decisions that I made and things like that?
And I will say
Yeah.
that's like, even I had that growing up and I didn't have the social media piece of it. So I can only imagine how much more pressure
Yeah,
then.
you're posting a photo in front of like
Yeah.
say Harvard or something.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah,
And like that's a really great point. Like I do remember a time in my life where I almost was applying to colleges based off of like prestige almost.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like how that would look on my I guess
That would-
resume, which is
yeah.
like it is helpful sometimes, but it's like I was so it that's a really great point. Worry
Mhm.
about what's going to be best for you. Like sometimes I don't even know.
Yeah, well, you'll look back and what you did for yourself and the people that you care about and you love. That's what's going to matter, and that's all you're going to
Yeah.
have eventually,
Yeah.
as opposed
Right.
to, oh
4
great,
years of your life.
Joe Schmo, who was the popular kid at our high school. He thought I was really cool for 20 minutes when he saw my post.
Yeah.
That gets you nowhere. But I think unfortunately, I think social media has in our brains like that instant dopamine hits and everything that we talked about earlier. That's become ingrained in us. And so it's like that it feels so important. I need to have that and I'm going to be a loser if I don't or whatever it is. And then you realize that, oh, that was just for an instant gratification. That actually didn't mean anything for my actual life.
Yeah, and you also it's like that's another thing about you enter adulthood and it's like wow, everyone has their own lives and a lot of the stupid stuff that people care about like when you're young, it's like no one's paying attention to what you're doing anymore. And that's a
No.
harsh reality for like I mean, for a lot of people is like, you know, they act a certain way in high school and college or post things or they're like, you know, they do. But then eventually you enter adulthood and it's like, it's not a production. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
your life doesn't revolve around social media and what looks good. It's like, you got to just start living for
Yeah.
But you do grow up. And I'm talking specifically about
Mm-hmm.
you two and the younger generations. You do grow up with your life being a production.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you're both Facebook, so social media in general. And then Instagram came along, right? So then the
Right.
faster scroll, because then
Yeah.
you were really starting to scroll through things.
Right.
And then TikTok, and that's even a faster scroll. So do you guys feel like that has affected? And I'm trying to think of the best way to put that. Like for me, I call it a death scroll, right?
Mhm.
Oh,
so
doom
you
scrolling?
doom
Yes,
scrolling,
yeah.
doom death.
Oh,
yeah,
same
same
thing.
difference,
Same
yeah.
thing.
I fall
Um,
victim to that. I know you probably do time to
Yep,
time.
for sure.
It's tough. Yeah. It's tough to get out of that.
It's
Yeah.
a
Terrible habit.
time eater.
Yeah,
Terrible
and
habit.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
I mean, that's part of your life. I mean,
Right.
it's all of ours, right? You can get into the doom scroll,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, where'd the time go?
Right.
Yeah. And I think I mentioned this to you. Actually, I might have mentioned it to both you guys the other day when we were talking, but I was doing just a little research on some social media stuff leading up to this. And I saw the quote in one of the articles I was reading that said social media used to be an escape from reality. Now reality is an escape from social media.
Yes.
And that is what it feels like
It's-
because it
That's
is.
so real.
Yeah.
Oh
Like you
my
go home
gosh.
That
and
hits hard.
I try to have
It really
downtime
does.
from the phone and things like that. But
Yeah.
even with that, like you get in bed and you
Yeah.
find yourself, I'm going to bed at 9 p.m. tonight. Next thing you know, it's 11:30 and I've
Yes.
done nothing. I've just been sitting here just scrolling
Yes.
and adding no value to my life, making my sleeping habits worse, making waking up tomorrow way harder,
Yeah.
and all for nothing. I've just doom scrolled and I have nothing added to my life other than I have seen a couple TikTok dances or like some trends, and that's
Yeah.
all that it adds.
Oh, that one does hit hard, doesn't it?
It does.
It hits
Yeah.
hard.
It does.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need a break. And there are some people out there who and I don't want to try and segue into something else if we're not ready to do that yet, but there's some people who love that they're constantly in front of a screen, or like they want to constantly have a screen in front of them. They almost don't want a break. And I don't know if that's like an escape for them or what, but
Yeah.
I've seen it out there, and I know probably you have too.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like,
I think it's changed, and we talked about this a little bit as well. It's changed our communication styles and things because it is very
Yeah.
it is much more normal now for our generation to be majority of my contact and people that I talk to and stuff is on my phone, as opposed to majority of people I interact
Right.
with and am in contact with is in person at work or at school or just day to day out and about. I feel like so much of that happens inside our phones. And so I really do think it's rewired some of our brains in certain ways. And I think it's made our communication styles harder. And like, I know it's difficult. Some like eye contact is a big thing that it's hard to get younger kids to like make just
Yeah.
eye contact when talking and things like
can't
that.
look in your eyes,
Yeah.
and it's weird. They
Yeah.
don't want to, or they're just here.
They
I
don't know
mean,
how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think that that's such a fair point. Rewired brains, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how they've grown up. They've grown up here. And so and that's kind of one of my biggest, and I don't want to say complaint, because every generation has their thing, right? It's just how that, a whole couple of generations now have grown up. And it's hard when you're trying to have a conversation with somebody. Like, you
Yeah.
guys are great. And I don't know if it's because you work in the broadcasting media field, or if you just had a good balance, but it's hard when you're trying to have a conversation with somebody and they can't actually look at you in the eye, or
Yeah.
they can't seem to follow through with the entire conversation, or they feel like they need that right now. Like,
Yeah.
they don't want to work for it. They just deserve to have it right now, just because that's that instant gratification that I think that doom scroll provides, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're seeing these people who are on some of the social media platforms who are making money doing this, and some of it's like great. Like, we
Yeah.
had a chance to meet goals, and
Yeah.
a fantastic kid who's doing great things with what
Yeah.
he's doing. But then I think that also leads to kids thinking they need to have that everything right now.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that? That
Oh
whole
my
rewiring of the brain,
gosh.
and yeah.
Yeah. You
can
know,
go ahead, 'cause I
it's
Do you
a
need
hard,
a minute?
I'm like, I could just.
Well, you know, I within my sports world, I also coach a freshman basketball team, and
Yeah.
so I've had awesome, really, really great kids that I've coached over the 4 years that I've been there. But there are a handful that you see that just don't know how to take responsibility, don't know how to have hard conversations and things like that. Where like we have a rule, you can't miss practice, and if you do, you better let the coach know well in advance and your reason and all of that. And you just have kids missing practice and then showing up and just avoiding eye contact and then you have to go up and you have to, where were you? And it's just a lack of communication. They don't
Right.
want to talk about hard things when
Right.
it's not easy. And the ones that will text you, they'll sit behind the keyboard and text you. But then when you ask about any of those tough things in person, they don't want to talk about it. And it's hard for them to have that human interaction. And so
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like for parents right now having to raise kids. I think I'm very grateful for mine. I think one thing I would encourage, not having kids of my own, is to let them kind of hate me now, love me later, and
Yeah.
be really hard on the social media stuff now and put a lot of boundaries in place now.
Yeah.
Because that's some of the stuff that my parents did before I even really knew what they were doing. Social media was still kind of new. And I
Yeah.
now look back 10, 15 years later and say, my God, I'm so happy that my parents didn't let me have my phone in my bedroom
Yeah.
when I went to sleep, and just like
Or at the
little
dinner
things
table,
like that.
or
Yeah,
things
dinner
like
table.
that. Yeah.
It's extremely important. I hear about like the way that Quinn was raised, and like I hate to tell your story for you.
No, it's okay.
But it sounds like they were, it's frustrating in the moment when you're dealing with parents that are a little bit more strict with that stuff.
Mhm.
But like it made you, I mean, at least in my opinion, like it made you a well-rounded like
Thank you.
dude. Like
Thank you, yeah.
seriously,
Yeah.
and it's kind of I hate to say it, it's kind of a rarity, and like people our age, they're, they've almost had so much access to it that they don't know any different.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really it's hard to watch.
I think
Yeah.
from my point of view, as a parent,
Mhm.
you have to be a parent first and a friend later. And you do,
Right.
you have to set the hard boundaries and you have to let them hate you. And I was one of those parents, actually.
Yeah.
My kids were the age of the video games coming out, and I wouldn't let them have video games or
Yeah.
when the cell phones did, they had to be a certain age, and no, they couldn't have them at the dinner table, and no, they couldn't have them past a certain, there was, I think you have to do the hard work right off so that your kids understand the boundaries. And I think so often now we just see what we call iPad babies where they're, they've got their iPad, which is, I understand because I would put my kids in front of a movie in front of the TV.
Sure.
But when I can hand a 3-year-old a phone and say, here, do this, and they can do it faster than I can.
Yeah,
Yes.
which is it's weird. That's
is.
weird. But yeah, it's such a I do really think I really like that perspective of like, yeah, parents really should tighten up during these times because that you don't know what your kid's looking at.
And I can
Oh.
tell you right now from
That's
firsthand
the whole scary
experience,
thing.
It's scary.
like my parents, I look at, they didn't know what the heck was on the
Right.
internet at the time. And I think we're smarter to that now than 10, 15 years ago. But kids are more social media, more digitally literate and understand how to work
Yes.
technology.
Oh my gosh.
If you don't do some of the stuff, they're looking at stuff they shouldn't be. They're doing stuff that they shouldn't be because they know how to access it. They know how to manipulate it so where you maybe don't see it now if you're like monitoring there. So I
So
would
you're
just say
saying
be
they
very
can-
strict on that stuff because I think when you're a kid, you know how to get access to that stuff in a world where your parents don't know how to
They don't
navigate the
know.
internet as well.
So where parents are thinking, okay, we put these specific parental controls in place. So now kids are finding, backdoor.
I did.
Some
So,
do.
Yeah.
so it's, it was, I did when I was 13 to 16, 17, when you're at those
that's
ages, you're a
fair.
little mischievous and maybe particularly as a boy at those ages with testosterone and things running, you find a way to go against your parents. And
Find the back
particularly when you
door.
understand how the social media platform or the internet searching works and all this stuff, you can find that way to kind of manipulate it and not let them see what you're doing, which is a really scary thing.
It is a
And I'm not
scary
proud
thing.
of some of the bad things that I've done, but
But I mean, I
Yes.
think in my day, we did our own bad things like
Right.
sneaking out,
Oh,
the
yeah.
bedroom
Sure.
window. So there you
Yeah.
go. Nobody's
Right.
We all have our
Everyone's
stuff.
got to learn.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
there's also like there's an extent because it can get really unhealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not learning and you're just
And I worry about
Right.
mental health.
Mhm.
I worry
yeah.
about mental health
Yeah.
because when your brain isn't formed and you're just discovering all these things and you're just trying to figure out who you are, then there are so many things that can just fill in the blank with your head.
Yeah.
yeah.
Really. And gosh, really mess you up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of an addictive for a lot of people. I don't want to say I'm not addicted to my phone, but I really don't think that I am because I have this ability to unplug
Mm-hmm.
and I don't
That's good.
it
Yeah.
is good. And if someone's talking to me, I've met people where you could be talking to them and they could be watching a TV or they could be on their phone. None of it's registering.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They don't
They
even
haven't heard a word you've said.
They don't even know
Yeah.
that you're speaking to
Mhm.
them.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like if I am on my phone and someone is talking to me, I can kind of be like, "Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Hey, I missed that.
Yeah.
I want to. Let me put my phone down." It's like being able to unplug is it's so important.
Yeah. And I think that's
It
something
ruins
that
connection.
for us is that, it can ruin connection by not putting the phone down. And I
Yeah.
think we don't realize that
Yeah.
as often as we should because it is that there are like relationships, opportunities in
God.
careers or just in
Yes.
life in general. They don't just happen by just sitting there being scrolling on
Right.
the phone. And so you don't know what you're missing
Yeah.
by being absorbed by that,
No,
whether that
exactly.
be with a person, with an opportunity, with a place, a new place to go visit. I think we are missing a lot of that
I always
that
say,
we weren't before.
look up.
Yes.
Yes.
If you look up
Ugh,
and put this down,
Yeah.
put it down.
it's so important.
It means it makes a world of
It
difference.
does.
Yeah.
And I was recently on a vacation. I was like, I don't want to look at my phone. I rarely even want to pull it out to take a picture.
Yeah.
But I want to get a picture sometimes. So I'll pull it out and I'll see I had 87 texts on one day. And I was like, we'll get that later.
Yeah.
We'll get that later because I didn't want to miss what was around me. And I feel like I've lost years because I was busy,
Yeah.
paying too much attention to this that really didn't matter with maybe people who didn't really know me or care about me when I was missing so much of what was out here. And I just want to say to people, look up,
Yeah.
put that away,
Seriously.
look up.
Yeah.
It ruins.
Yeah.
It ruins like your perception of it ruins your perception of everything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's affected like even relationships that I've been in. Like I remember, well, maybe, and I'm like, I don't really mind talking about it, honestly. But I do remember like having a boyfriend at the time, and it felt like they were always just looking at a screen. Like it's like they were never not looking at a screen. It wasn't ever, and I found myself like begging, like whether it could have been Instagram, it could have been like TikTok, it could have been video games, especially. It could have been I'm trying to think, even like the crazy, like the even the hypersexualized sides of the internet, like stuff like that. It's like it's all, we have access to all of that and everything that they think that everything you need is on a screen. So I found myself constantly being like, hello, kind of like.
You feel invisible.
I felt like
If
I
you're
was
the-
competing
Yeah.
with a screen.
Yeah. Like you're fighting for attention over
Yeah.
essentially inanimate objects that you're
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to like have this human connection, but
Yeah.
That's all.
there's
Yeah.
a
It's
robot in between essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that doesn't feel good.
no, it's
Yeah.
Like that doesn't
it's
feel
weird
good at
Yeah.
all.
You feel like you're competing with. It's like, well, what's so interesting on your
Right.
phone then, and what's so, it's hard. It's isolating a little bit.
So I think it's fair to say, right? If you're with somebody, whether it be a friend or a parent or in a relationship, you have to be able to separate the two because otherwise you're losing that. You're making somebody else feel like they don't matter, that
Right.
they're invisible, that they're not
Right.
important. And that's so unhealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
Connections really, I think it's so important, and I don't think these can help, but like they, in the grand scheme of things, I can even recall a time where like sitting at dinner, the person I was with, they needed a screen to watch during dinner.
okay. You know what makes me most sad? When my boyfriend and I go out for dinner is seeing another couple at a table and they're not talking or looking at each other. They're both on their phones.
Yeah.
And I think, how sad is that?
It's
Yeah.
awful.
Like you should be there and like having a conversation and enjoying good food. Do you even know what happened? Or did you just go somewhere to eat and look
Right.
at your phones?
And get your picture that,
And get
I'm
your
on my
and
date.
get your picture.
and,
Yeah.
Okay, great. Look who I'm with. But then I'm just going to put my head
Right.
back down and
Yeah, or look where I'm at,
Yeah.
like you said. And it's like,
Right.
but you really missed where you were at.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You missed where
That's
you
the
were
thing.
at.
It's
Yeah.
look around you. Look at what's
Yeah.
right in front of you, because we kind of discussed this the other day. It's like you're not going to get to this is kind of dark, but you're not going to get to the end of your life and be like, wow, I wish I played more video games. Wow, I wish
Yeah.
I scrolled more. Wow, I wish
Yeah.
I ignored my surroundings more. It's really about connection
Yeah.
and being present, because that's at the end of that really is all that matters. It's like you are not going to look back and wish that
You spent more
you just-
time
you
online.
just did this more.
Yeah. Right.
You're not.
Wish I spent more time doom scrolling while I'm on my deathbed. Like,
Yeah,
that's not, you're going to look back and
You're
think,
right. Can I have my phone so I can doom scroll my last few minutes of life? Right?
Right.
No, nobody.
Yeah.
And let me compare my life to
Right.
where somebody else's
Yes.
is at.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
And time is our most valuable thing. And I
Yes.
think that's one of the things that I view it like my parents are starting to they're not getting old, but
They're
they're starting
getting
to
older.
age just as
Yes.
anybody would. And so
Yeah.
I think about like all the different times that, man, I should put this phone down and I should call my parents right now who live on the East Coast. So I should give them a call and check
Right.
in and have that conversation, or go and visit them. Like if they're local to you, like
yeah.
go and spend time with people that you're not going to have time with eventually and do the stuff that you want to do, because eventually you run out of time. And I think now more than ever, we don't want to look back and say, I was on my phone and that's why I didn't do X, Y, and Z, because I spent all that time on social media. Like, what is that going to be worth down the road?
nothing.
That is one of the biggest things that people forget, is that time is not endless.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, there's an expiration date for everything.
Yeah.
And so if you don't look up and if you don't appreciate what's around you and really see the people or the places that you are in, then you lose so much. I mean, time is not just a gift that somebody just keeps giving you. Yeah, it eventually ends.
It does.
Yeah.
And that's it's kind of the harsh truth, but it's true. Like, having that mindset. I mean, sometimes I would hope that would change somebody's perspective about the endless like screens in your face. It's like you're killing precious time here.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're putting online. And the
Oh my
time you're
gosh,
spending if you are being hateful, if you're taking your anger out online, why are you wasting that precious time with so much ugly? Like, go find someplace to spend that time that's productive and, something you're passionate about, something that positive that you can leave behind, as opposed to all of the Okay.
Absolutely.
I have to switch gears though. And I want to talk about online dating, because you two,
Oh man.
good Lord.
Yes.
No, that to me, and I'm just going to say it, like, it's horrifying to me, these online dating apps, because back in my day, you either met at school or at your work or at a bar, right?
Right.
And that's just kind of how it was. So you met in person, like, hey, want to go out? Sure. And now there's all these dating apps, and you're like, I don't even understand them. I don't understand them, but they scare the crap out of me.
I don't think I do either.
Yeah.
Did they scare you guys, or is it just like normal to you? I'm super curious.
Yeah. Well, I recently, actually, just this past weekend, I got engaged,
Yes,
which was
you
very
did.
nice. So, yes, thank you. Quick little shameless plug there.
I love that.
Of course.
We're so excited for you and Emily.
Yeah, but I think for me, this was one of the positives of social media, because I met my girlfriend. I'm from the East Coast in Buffalo.
Right.
She's from here in Spokane. We met through a mutual friend, and we just became friends when she would come to visit him in Buffalo. And then she ended up sliding into my DMs at one point, as we call it. At one point, when we already knew, we had a little bit of we'd known each other for about a year and a half, 2 years as friends, and didn't spend a ton of time together because of the distance, but then slid into my DMs. And then we dated long distance before I moved here. So having texting and being able to communicate kept our relationship alive for that early stretch and allowed us to have the relationship that we have now. But with that was a little over 5 years ago. I think the kind of the Tinders and all of your different dating apps and all of that stuff have just gotten kind of scarier and scarier and more unpleasant. And I thankfully wasn't really on them before that anyway. So I don't think Olivia has a ton of experience on them either, but I'll let her speak to that. But I know that it's not something that I'm very grateful I got out of dating when I did.
Right. And you got, your kind of online story is one of a friendship where you had met in person.
Yes.
And then it just kind of evolved by being able to connect and stay in touch that way. And we love those stories.
Right. But I can't imagine the other stories that you hear sometimes. Yeah.
So what do you know about, and how do you feel about as a female?
It's
online.
It's pretty awful. I mean, in my first relationship ever, I met him at like just at work. So but I'm single now. I'm in my 20s, and like the thing about kind of like you mentioned Tinder, I feel like they only have I know there's probably good guys out there. I don't want to paint a horrible picture of like men my age or boys, but I just feel like they have one motive, and it's not good. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's this hookup culture kind of within my age group, and so it's not it feels like nobody wants real connection anymore. It's like if you're on Tinder, you only want one thing.
So would it be fair for me to say that they're thinking with one brain and not the other.
Yeah.
Okay. Is
Thinking
that a
with
good way to
one-
put
so
that?
I would
not
say
thinking
so.
with
All right.
their brain.
Yeah.
Thinking with a different,
Yeah.
with a different,
We're
like,
getting the male perspective here too.
Yep.
with
Yeah,
Quinn.
sorry,
It's like,
Quinn.
yeah.
No, it's true. And
Quinn's a great guy, guys. He's just,
Yeah, yeah,
It's-
but you
Well,
can offer that perspective.
yeah,
and,
well, and
you
I
know,
think I
saying-
told you guys yesterday that while I personally did not spend much time on them because they were kind of new as I was getting towards the end of
Yeah.
college, and then I obviously met Maddie, so I had no need for them. But I was around all my friends that were on it.
Did
I was
call
on
Maddie
them for a
Emily?
short.
I think I did, didn't
Oh, I don't know. I
I
didn't.
think I might have. Sorry, Maddie.
oh, just an
That's all
accident.
right. Yeah. But from the male perspective, particularly in kind of those late teenage to early 20 years
Yeah.
when our frontal lobes are still developing, typically a little bit slower than women's. I think that is the motivation. And a lot of the times, because you can be behind the screen, you can play it off as, oh, I'm this suave. I really care. I want to really get to
Yeah.
know you. And then we get that hookup that I'm
Yeah.
looking for, and then I ghost you, and that's the end of it. And everything I did was a nice facade and a
Yeah.
lie that I had to put on for a week. And now I can move on and be my normal self. And I think that is, unfortunately, the mindset of a lot of guys on those apps, which
It
is not across the
is.
board, but it's a high percentage, I would say.
I have two boys, right?
Yeah.
So I have two boys. I know how they think, and I know that age, and that's just normal.
Yeah.
It really is just normal. Whereas females think differently. You
Right.
know, we're looking for that connection. Mental heart connection thing, and we want to believe that that's the thing. But boys are thinking differently, and
Right.
it really is just the way we're made up.
Mhm.
It's the way we're made up. So I can imagine that it would be really difficult. Like, it just would be really difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't personally, I don't touch it because I'm not on dating apps, so I'm kind of the wrong person to talk to, and it's not really for any reason besides the fact that like I don't appreciate like the hookup culture. I can't get behind it. I just don't like it. It's like if I would like to almost, I'm envious of like the life that you kind of had before social media, because people were meeting at, I mean, just out and about. They
Yeah.
met at work. They met at like, I mean, maybe a bar even, or like, I don't,
Yep.
I don't really like bars, but because those can be kind of, that's where people pick up dates too and stuff sometimes. And it's kind of like, I feel like just our generation is just, it's just wired different.
Mhm.
Well, I
Like-
think, like we said, that rewiring of the
Mhm.
brains, I do think, and we'll probably learn more over the coming couple decades as
Yeah.
more and more gets released on this type of stuff. But I would imagine that with the social media, with that lack of human interaction and connection getting less and less too, it feels like that probably is changing the perspective that people have on relationships, on what they're getting into them for, what they're expecting to get out of them and stuff like that, which is a sad and in a lot of ways a scary thing, depending on which way that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting how that.
I think it will
It's
be
kind of happening in
interesting to
front of
see
us.
how that kind of all sort of falls together in the years to come.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with like, I also feel like in the dating world's kind of a weird one too, because social media, especially for women, I feel like there's that like comparison there of, because there's like
Mhm.
influencers and like celebrities kind of, and like obviously like I feel like a lot of guys nowadays, like there's this they kind of set an unrealistic expectation for a lot of like men, kind of. I feel like it's kind of hard being just like an ordinary young woman when there's all of this stuff on social media, and some of it's not even, most of it's not even real.
There's so much
Right.
AI out there now
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
From what I'm learning,
Yes.
just in the last few days, I'm like,
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
that's an AI?
Oh, it's so
Like,
Yeah.
wow,
what
that's
it can
crazy,
do.
right?
And it's just going to
Yeah.
get worse. It
Yeah,
feels like.
Yeah, it only gets worse.
Yeah.
I think that everybody's view is skewed at this point.
think so,
I really
too.
just, and you're right, it's so hard just to be an ordinary person.
Yeah.
Everything is filtered and AI'd and perfected to a point that we've lost the real.
Yeah.
And I would love to see like the real come back.
I know. It makes me sad.
Yeah, I actually
Yeah.
like hearing you guys say that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's actually, I saw somewhat recently. I had a friend, maybe it was a friend or maybe it was just a post that I saw, but it was like one of those old 2011 blurry picture of my dog or sandwiches, and it was
Yeah.
with the hashtag make Instagram casual again, and like make it
Yeah.
like this kind of casual place where, yes, I'm just gonna come on here and post my lunch, and like let's have fun with social media again, not make it this like world that we have to curate everything that we're doing and look picture perfect and
Yeah.
be consumed by like post a picture of your lunch and then put your phone down and come back tonight after you go and do something
Right.
today and see what your buddy said about
Yeah.
that nasty looking sandwich or that delicious, just like something like that. And make it fun and don't make it like the center of
Yeah.
our lives. Let's like try to
I
disconnect and put the phones down
Yeah, just put 'em
occasionally
down.
and make this stuff, make it casual to us again. Don't make it the center of our lives and don't make it the be all end all
Yeah.
of what our brains think about.
and realize too that there is no such thing as perfect.
Yeah.
There is no perfect person out there. There is no perfect scenario. There's no perfect life.
Yeah.
Everybody has stuff. Everybody has stuff. We all have flaws.
Yeah.
Of course, we see our own flaws way more than anybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
But we're so busy perfecting everything to the point that we don't even recognize ourselves, I think, sometimes.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to people your
gosh.
own age?
Oof.
I feel
Let you go.
like that's kind of a hard one, but
Yeah.
I think that the best advice would just be like don't because I find myself guilty of this. It's like a huge thing is comparison. It's like don't get caught up in like comparing yourself to other people or like influencers or whatever, because it's kind of like what you said. It's morphed our reality, so we don't know what's real, and we don't know what they're dealing with, or we don't know what some of them actually look like on a day-to-day
Mhm.
basis. It's like we get so caught up in this like
Yeah.
we think that their life is perfect, and it's like, well, it's really not though, and it's not.
Nope.
It's you can't. Basically, I wouldn't get lost in comparing yourself to like people, and I would just
Yeah.
stay true to like yourself and make real connections. Like don't, because easier said than done, I feel like nowadays.
Mhm.
But it's like go. My advice is go touch some grass.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
go
that would,
outside.
yep, that would be exactly mine. And
That's
while I
awesome.
am not, and I'm sure we both would say we are not the experts in this. Like there are nights where I'm
No.
doom scrolling and on my phone way
Right,
too much
I'm
and thinking
guilty
about
of it,
comments
yeah.
and all this stuff. But I think whenever I do disconnect from my phone, and like my family was from the East Coast was just here for a couple days, and I just put my phone in my pocket or put it in a bag
Yeah.
and didn't look at it. Those texts that you can respond to them a few
Yeah.
days later. No one, unless of course urgent things come
Right.
up. But for the most part, 99% of the time, those texts can wait. Checking social media can wait.
Yep.
Disconnect from it for a little while. And like, because that's how it used to be. People didn't have your constant attention and your constant communication whenever they wanted it and whenever, every
Yeah.
waking second. And so I don't think we're wired to be that way as humans. So it's okay, even though it doesn't feel like it anymore because we're so used to being attached to that phone. It's okay to put it away and not know what's going on in the world outside of your
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
personal bubble occasionally. Like obviously you want to check in, but I would just say disconnect, go touch grass,
Go touch
Yeah.
grass.
go work out, go do something,
Yeah.
go be productive for
Be
your life. Because I worry that
productive.
we're going to have a generation
Yeah.
of people that look back and just regret that we didn't do anything and
Right.
that we never achieved anything. We didn't
Right.
grow our society. We didn't help anything because we just sat here attached to these
we
phones.
we missed it so much,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We missed so much. You know what's
Yeah.
super interesting, you guys, is that the advice that you just gave to people your age is the exact same advice I would give as
That's
well. Is
good.
that
That's,
put your phone down,
yeah.
put social media away. For me, it's a part of my job,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
again,
and it's part of our jobs.
Right.
is the
Olivia
thing.
is the keeper of my social media.
Yeah.
So just know if you send something, Olivia is going to see that as
Yeah.
well.
I see you. Yeah.
She's going to see that as well. So it's a part of my job. So I know that I need to keep that connection, but do take that time. And I would say that to you guys, but you already know it, which I love, and which why we have such great conversations.
Right.
But to all the other kids and to my kids and to the generations of kids to come, put the phone down or whatever that next best thing is, because
Yeah.
there will be a next best thing, and look around because life is short.
Yeah.
Time is not promised. And you want to be able to see what's out there. You want to be able to talk to people and get to know people. And you want to feel. And I feel like that's lacking. We don't actually know how to feel anymore because it's such a disconnect
Yeah.
on a daily basis.
Mhm.
So learn to feel and have those emotions and then just be who you are.
Yeah.
You don't need to be the filtered person. You don't need to AI generate yourself.
Yeah.
You're great just the way you are.
Yep.
And nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. Nobody's life is perfect. Everybody has SHIT in their life. See how I spelled
right.
that out?
Oh, yeah.
But they do. And life isn't always pretty.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have to look perfect online, and it doesn't have to be perfect for you to be loved.
Yep.
I
Exactly.
guess is the best thing
Yes,
I
that
want to
was
say.
that was perfect.
What was that line again? What was that quote? Read that
They
again.
said social media used to be an escape from reality. Now reality is an escape from social media.
God, that's such the perfect way
Yeah.
to end this. And I just want to say thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I want to
Thank you,
say,
Leslie.
Quinn, congratulations to you and Maddie.
Thank you
This
so
is
much.
exciting
Yes, thank
stuff.
you.
Yes, we're
Much
super
appreciated.
excited. Olivia, you're beautiful in every single way.
Oh, you're perfect.
The right person.
Perfect angel.
The right person is out there for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
We'll
Yes,
see.
he will show up.
Not on those apps.
Not on those apps.
It really
That's the
it's
motherly
that, it's
advice.
that damn phone. That's
Yes.
what the you kind of hear your parents say. It's that
Yep.
damn phone. It really is that damn
It
phone.
really
Yep.
is that damn phone.
Exactly right.
Thanks you guys so much.
Thank
and
you,
thank you
Leslie.
for all you do here and for just being that light for me every single day. I appreciate you both so much.
We
love
appreciate
working
you.
with you.
I love working with
Yeah.
you're the
Thanks for letting
best.
us be a part of this.
Thank you.
Love fest here. All right, everybody. Go make the rest of your days the best of your days. Put down your damn phone.